And we're back. You are listening to Local Biz Now. I am Joe Vagnone. This is News Talk WSIC, 105.9 FM, 100.7 FM, 1400 AM. And this is Local Biz Now, where we hope to inspire, inform, entertain you. And we thank you so much for being here. And if it is Friday morning, your business matters. And we are bringing you top quality, top notch, and in this case, Chris,
yes,
top in the nation.
Yes.
You understand what I'm getting ready to introduce you to is one of the top event planners in the nation.
Oh, yeah.
This ain't your mother-in-law making some barbecue.
This isn't a one-off.
You understand?
Yeah.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah. This is no Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Right.
We're going to be doing this here and bring some baked beans. No, we got something bigger going on here.
Lisa Pleasant with Lisa Pleasant Events. Lisa, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
So this show is my life. Most people know that, right? That's how I end up getting the guests that I get. This show is becoming is going to be going on 10 years, and so I'm trying to put an event together, get all my co-hosts together, and that sort of stuff. And I did some research because you know me, Chris. I want the best. I mean,
that's a good thing to have.
I want the best.
It's always going for you.
And after a detailed, exhausted research, I came up with Lisa. And Lisa and I talked. Lisa, I cannot thank you for the amount of time that you gave me. She probably burned up a good hour of her time teaching me what I didn't know.
An hour she may not get back now, Greg.
That's right. And when it's over with, I said, Lisa, thank you. The least I can do is get you on the show. So, Lisa, thank you for taking time to be here. I appreciate it.
I appreciate it. I did love our conversation that day, too.
So after my research, one thing I found really surprising about events, everybody seems to focus on weddings. Is that like the core of what it is that you do is weddings? Because that's what it seems to me to be.
Yeah, we do some corporate too, but our bread and butter is definitely our weddings. So we've been doing it for about 12 years, or 8 of us. So 5 of us full-time, 3 are part-time. And honestly, though, I love weddings. I do some, like I said, I do some corporate, but and I thoroughly enjoy those. They're all very different and unique. And normally when we do a corporate, it's more of a party, like throwing some kind of
that's fun.
Wild entertainment in there or something like that kind of, gets it's a little bit out of the box. But with weddings also, I wouldn't say that anyone is, I know that sounds cliche, but they're not all alike. So love it too. Lisa,
you say you like weddings, but a couple of times that we've spoken, talked, you like people. I mean, you genuinely gave of your time. You didn't know me, of your time and energy. Then you sent me an email, gave me a list of people that you thought might be helpful. All of them competitors, right? You know what I mean? You were just trying to be helpful. And I found that to be impressive. I really did. And I was really surprised at the size of your organization, how large it was. So I really... It's rare that a person in an industry catches me off guard, and this was one of those that I didn't realize how big the industry was.
It's quite large, yes. I will say I love the diversity of our team too. Like as we've grown, we have pulled on, we have people from videography backgrounds to finance. To fashion industry. I have a mathematical kind of base. And I love all of that. I've never actually wanted to pull someone in who had a quote unquote wedding background, because it does kind of pull in a new perspective and just, adds that diversity to the team. So
let's back up a little bit. Because you didn't wake up on a Tuesday and decide you want to do events, did you? Tell me. Maybe
it was Tuesday.
She does seem like she's made for this.
It was Tuesday at 8:38, and this is when we decided to do this.
So tell us, were you made for this? To give us a little bit of your background.
Yeah. So I was telling Chris earlier that I was going to school and met someone who was kind of in the mathematical field. I tried that out for a very short time and kind of fell into club promotions at the same time, and just wanted something that was my own and was kind of exploring that area. And my older brother got married down in Destin, Florida. And he's like, you plan things, why don't you plan our wedding? And I said, sure. I loved it. And I dropped everything else. I went and built my own website within a month. dropped everything else, and I've never looked back. I love it.
That's what fascinates me. Some people can do something they'll talk about, well, they did something one time that they didn't know that they were probably maybe good at, who knows, but they don't stick around for it. You've been doing this for quite a while now and been just growing by leaps and bounds and just killing it out there.
Yeah, and I had a friend ask the other day, like, how much time do you think you have left in the industry before you're burnt out? I said, I don't see the end to this. I love it. I really have not gotten burnt out. So
yeah, you really bring something too that's a little different than other event planners that I would see, where to them it's just a job.
Oh, this is my life. Gotcha. Yeah, if you asked me what my passions were, I'd say,
Chris, I think you're right. She was born for this.
Yeah. It's as I'm watching her, it's kind of like, okay, I believe though she's telling me is something more than just I've got to do this because it pays the bills, which is good for you. It really probably keeps you up at night and keeps going all the time. But you're really wanting to make sure that your clients have a great time, and.
Yep, it means everything to me. I will stop my vacation to go make sure something happens right. These are my friends almost. This is my family. So my clients have become, we do get close, working together for a year, sometimes 2 years. It does. It absolutely is my life passion.
2 year planning for a wedding?
Sometimes, yeah. Honestly, though, if you're looking, it depends on what season you're looking into. But if you're getting married in October in North Carolina, for example, it's almost necessary to start planning 2 years ahead.
Wow.
That's the number one wedding month in North Carolina. And after that, I'd say May and then September. And it's kind of leaking into November a little bit. But it's so gorgeous in October. You really don't have to worry about weather as much. Especially up in the mountains, the leaves are falling, and then early November comes Charlotte. It's just gorgeous here too. So it's sometimes necessary to start early.
So, because we highfalutin, and sometimes I can get Isaiah to do his job. We're going to pull up your website also. Those of you that are watching on the book, you can see her website. It really is an impressive website.
Thank you.
You do a nice job of sort of displaying all of the details necessary to pull off a good event, right? Because so much of that is assumed. And I see you kind of smiling because you realize there's a lot of detail behind the assumption that the food will be warm, right? Talk about the details, because most of us who are putting together an event, we don't realize the details that come with this.
Yeah, so I do think a lot of people look at decor, they look at flowers, and just the kind of the overall aesthetic of the event, and they think that is what the event is. So, I could be really good at design. I could be really good at pulling things together. But if you don't have that organization behind it, it's not, there's so many details that go into it, whether it's, we've had to, for example, go to, rentals and see exactly how far apart those bars are in the tent, so we could place the tables exactly underneath them and get the florist how much it's going to weigh, how are we going to hang that. We have to get the tent there first, chain it, all the logistics that go into just hanging a centerpiece in a tent, for example. Right. So, and that's where I love love figuring things out.
Hearing you talk, and when we met over the phone, I could tell it's not just food, just seating. It is doing it well so the actual feeling you want happens. That's not easy to do. I describe that to business people in their branding, right? Like, I know you think that the customer thinks of you this way, but let me tell you why they don't, because there's three things that are happening before they ever get to the front door, right, that make them think differently. You are helping your clients see that in advance. I find that difficult to educate somebody like Joe on the front end, right? Like we spoke for an hour when we first talked on the phone, and all you were doing was trying to educate me, Joe, you really don't get this, right? Like, I understand you put on a party before, but what you're asking me to do and making it happen is there's a big divergence in understanding. Talk a little bit about that, because you got to be a therapist to get me to see that first, right?
Sure. Sometimes, you do have to. You do have to have the kind of blunt conversation sometimes. So what I typically do when I start planning with whether it's corporate or a wedding or whoever, we'll have a very long meeting. So I always say bring a huge bottle of wine. We're going to be sitting down for a hot minute. But in that, we're going through every aspect of what I need to know that's important to that client for me to execute it. So, going through budget, for example, we're going through every single vendor, what personality they like most, what style they like. So, so like with photography, for example, if we get onto that vendor, we're not just saying these are our favorite photographers. We're showing them styles, and I'll show them different, not from specific websites, even just what do you like about this style? What do you like about the shading here? All this stuff. And then we talk about, what kind of personality do you work well with? So do you want somebody who's kind of a fly on the wall? Do you want somebody who's very in your face, moving you around?
Right.
Do you need that structure, or do you need somebody in between? And then we match them with the right people.
Do they know? Like I've learned, and it's taken me years, right? The different photographers, there's some very skilled photographers at buildings. Then there's another group of photographers that are excellent with portraits, right? Then action shot. It took me years to realize you have to figure out the difference between those and which ones you want, right?
Yeah.
Same thing when it comes to, do I want you in my face? Do I not? Do they know that, or do you have to educate them on what you think they want first? Because this, I know this sounds like it is simplistic, but it gets into exceptionally difficult phases.
It just depends on the client. Some people know exactly what they want. They say, I want this style, this person. They'll have an exact picture of a bouquet, for example, replicate it. Most people don't. Most people want to kind of give some creative leeway to their vendors. But
yeah, but Lisa, I said I want this, this, and this, and you said, nah, you really don't.
You only thought you wanted that.
Joe, that's not
you're
really.
That's
I
not
know
what you're
you
going to
think
get.
You want that, Joe, but that's not really what you want.
There are some times that, and yes, I did, but there are some times that, what you want might be good, but we need to figure out a different way to get there. Maybe a logistic there is not going to work exactly how you think.
Okay, so let's take a break.
Yep.
When we come back, let's have some fun. I want you to list some of the funnest weddings and events that you put on.
Okay. Sounds
You
good.
are listening to Local Biz Now. I am Joe Vagnone. Give me a minute, and we're going to have some fun and come up with some of the most exciting events that our guest, Lisa Pleasant, the founder of Lisa Pleasant Events, has put on over the years. If it's Friday morning, say it, Chris. Say it.
Your business matters.
Nah, man.
Come on, guys.
Come on. You gotta have a little oomph. Do it.
Here we go. Your business matters.
Yeah. Be right back. And we are back. You are listening to Local Biz Now. I am Joe Vagnone. This is the #1 talk business show in all the villes. I mean, from Statesville to Huntersville and all of the towns in between. If it's Friday morning, your business matters. I'm here with my co-host, Chris Verlani. He is the founder of Performance Strategist, Rise of the Super Athlete. I'm also here with one of the top event planners in the country.
Yes.
Don't make this small. I'm not talking about the Cornelius.
Or the
I mean
Vills.
the country.
Yeah.
Lisa Pleasant is the founder of Lisa Pleasant Events. Lisa, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I
And so I
appreciate
want to
it.
remind everybody that's listening, I met you because I'm trying to put together a event. Julie and I have put together 9 events, the small business event of the year. We have absolutely failed the event happened, everybody was fine, but Julie and I knew there were things we wanted to have happen that didn't happen, right? Like, we know we're not good at this, right? So once we decided we want to put a 10-year anniversary on, Julie said, I'm not going to do it, right? We now know what we don't know, right? And
After 9 years?
That's right.
It took you 9 years to figure that out.
We did 9 years. And so that's when I contacted you. You told me, yeah, Julie's right. You don't know what you're doing. We
In nicer words.
I'd love to say we hit it off, but I think you just like people, right? And so you genuinely embrace my ability to not know, and then sent me a list of people to help me do that. and I tell people this often, I'm going to be the best person you ever met in your life. In this case, I think you might be the best person somebody would meet because you just genuinely really like people. You gave me of your time and experience. I really do appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you so much. I thoroughly enjoyed our conversation too.
I can tell that you just enjoy people. I can tell.
I do, absolutely.
So that being the case, right? Because I don't really like people. Chris knows that, right? You know what I mean?
Unless you're doing whiskey cigar.
That's right.
That's about it.
So tell me, walk me through a couple of events that just over the years you just still remember.
Sure. I love anything unique. So I'll tell you about one corporate event that we did last October. We had an aerialist bartender. So she was doing all sorts of aerial art and pouring champagne upside down and things like that. We had another martini glass girl. So she was doing all sorts of like ribbon dancing inside a giant martini glass.
Wow.
I love displays of like, floating hors d'oeuvres that we've done before with magnets or like, it's just fun. Wow. I love getting creative and we've done the aerialist at a 1920s style wedding before.
Wow.
Where you have these coupe glasses and people just kind of go up to her and hand her the glass and she pours it upside down. Or I'm big into entertainment. In different forms. I think you and I talked about that on the phone even.
That's right.
That I threw some ideas out.
I mean, your point was there needs to be a goal and have some activities for them to do when they get there. Mm-hmm. Not the event is not that you're here. Yeah. The event is that there's going to be things to do when you get here.
Sure. Yep. And we've had fire dancers before. We've had, I've gotten to create some different things too, like a big mosaic tile dance floor. One time I got to design, or there was another bar actually that I designed out of ice. So it was sheer, like every little thing on there was ice.
Wow.
Even up to the floating shelves and everything else. So I love that. I love something unique about an event where I know those guests are going to go.
And Lisa, what I like about this is I wouldn't even know to think about these things that they even exist until I call you. So the value you're giving, right? People seem to miss it. You know what I mean? In other words, it's not just of your time. Yeah. It is the years of experience knowing that a dancing fireman or a singing bartender
kind of party there.
I wouldn't even know it exists.
A dancing fireman. There we go.
Now I know what to recommend for my next client.
I was thinking that's a bachelor party or something else going on there. Bachelorette party, actually, right?
Bachelorette party,
yes.
Chris, I'm trying to be serious here. The point that I'm making is she's worth every penny because the experience and information she has, we don't have. We wouldn't even know these things exist.
And here's the cool thing: is she's able to take someone's dream and actually make it happen so flawlessly that they don't realize what was happening behind the background, and that's what makes someone really good at what they do.
Oh, I
make it so
you would know all the stuff she has to do to make that.
All I know is if
dancing fireman.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. She had me at the aerialist. The aerialist. Oh, aerialist. I was. That's amazing.
It's so fun.
No one's ever going to forget about that. They'll forget about what happened last week, but they'll never ever forget about that event.
Exactly.
And I don't think you can put a price on that.
On that memory,
right? Because you'll be thinking, this is the time that we did this for, or whatever.
Yeah, and you hit on something too with not knowing what happened. That is the absolute goal. I would say maybe 1 out of 5 events that we do, something happens that we're going to have to fix and kind of, put the flames out before maybe a vendor gets stuck on the side of the road and we have to find one replacement last minute or whatever.
And then you guys make it still seem like to make it go off so that your client is happy and they're walking out raving fans.
Yep, and hopefully they never knew what happened.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, after the conversation with Lisa, I've realized something that I'd been putting on events, small business events for years, right? But I wasn't actually getting the value I wanted to get. In other words, it was happening and the people were leaving. And they didn't say, boy, Joe and Julie did a bad job, right? No, but the goal I was after, the intent, didn't actually happen, right? Whatever that is. And so that's why you have an event planner, so that she can spend time and energy making sure that what you want the ultimate goal to be actually happens. And that's where the value is, right? And I wouldn't know that after 9 years of doing it until I had an hour-long conversation with Lisa.
Right. Yeah, and I think... Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. Because, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. No. And I think you and I talked about that a little bit, like, for example, having speakers at the event. So, having them for 45 minutes, for example, which a lot of corporate events will, we have a lot of speakers. It's just going to be 45 minutes to an hour. Just giving advice like that, like people are going to probably start zoning out after 15 minutes of that. Right. Or, just Easy. Kind of redirecting. Yep. And you're right, like getting to the goal of whatever right. goal you have, right.
Helping
create that so people remember that.
I'm right because you taught me that.
Well, the one
Julie just sent you a Facebook and said thank you so much for helping us find somebody, because that was the last thing she was going to do was do this event. She wasn't going to do it.
The one thing I have to say I love about this, and this is how and I love it because I do the same thing when I work with my athlete clients, is how do you want to feel when you're, like, in other words, if they have an event and now they're going to a tournament or whatever else. My question is, how do you want to feel when you're walking off the mat?
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's one of our first
They want to
questions.
feel good. They feel great. I want to feel like I've done it, or left it all on the plate, or I've won. Mm-hmm. Then we reverse engineer everything from there, because if we have the goal, we know how we that's really the direction of what it is. We can put everything to make sure that no matter what we're doing, the question gets asked: are we going to meet that goal or not? If it's not, we just get rid of
Chris,
it,
think
and then
about
we move forward.
Yep, exactly.
We're asking her,
Yes.
a professional,
Yes.
to give a feeling to somebody.
Oh, she does a great job,
hard
apparently.
that is, right? I mean,
I'm already sold, and I haven't been
I want my
there.
guests to walk out feeling X. Like, that's not easy to do.
No, not only that, not just for one person, but for a lot of people. So you'd have your main client, but then you'd have everyone who's around the whole event who has to walk out with a feeling or a meaning to the situation too as well.
Yep.
Because people buy in feelings anyways; they're not buying on logic.
Yep.
So, and I didn't know that until I met her. So, Lisa, you have educated me, and I thank you for that. So we've only got a minute or so. What advice would you give somebody thinking about starting a business? What advice would you give them? Because this is not an easy profession you're in.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, I'd say just dive in. I mean, I dove in, I gave it everything that I had, and, don't give up. I think I was telling Chris earlier that after 3 years or so is pretty much the burnout point in our industry. So if you can make it past that and still keep that passion, and you're still truly passionate about it, don't keep doing it because you're going to ruin someone's big day if you're not. But if you truly are, then don't give up.
Wow.
And what I like is you have built a team around you so that you can focus on what you want to focus on and allow them to focus on what they want to focus on. So that's good business on your part.
Yep, absolutely. So I've found myself this past year kind of doing fewer of the events themselves and taking on more of the managerial role, which I'm thoroughly enjoying too. So half of it for me, half of my work is events, and the other half where I can be creative. The other half, I love my people. So I love to kind of
that's her tagline.
Yeah.
She loves people.
She does love people, and it shows. Yes.
Lisa Pleasant Events. Thank you so much, Lisa. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
You are listening to Local Biz Now. I am Joe Vagnone, and if it's Friday morning, your business matters, and you need an event planner. Don't do it yourself, or you'll end up like Joe. If it's Friday morning, do it, Chris. Do it.
At least do it.
Your business matters.
She even got the business in there. I love her. We'll see you next week.